Hello everyone, it's Cribini and Tina. Welcome to the channel.
We've just been consuming the media from Ahmad Ali to Breonna Taylor and now George Floyd. So we took our time. We thought about the discussion that we wanted to have with our viewers, who have also just been overwhelmed the past few days with emotion, disappointment, anger, and frustration. So first, we'd like to start by talking about President Trump's tweet. Now, he called the people at the demonstration, and I will not call it a riot. I refuse to. It definitely was a demonstration. He called them thugs. And he also stated, when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Right.
So I was having a conversation with you about that.
Right.
Just that, aside from the other things we're going to dissect. But I said that I see that as just almost another way to incite a race war. And then I mentioned that there was a video where there's a man, he's white because they do get close to him.
Right.
But he is in full black mask, black gloves, black clothing. And he had that little hammer or mallet, and he was breaking all those, you said it was?
Windows at AutoZone.
Yes. And people now have alleged that that was a police officer. And I told you, I said that even points to even more, I mean, I know people use protests different ways. Some people to acknowledge the wrong, the hurt, the anger. But I saw it as a way, if that actually is a police officer now, it's alleged, it's not for sure yet, or at least I haven't heard. If you guys have, let us know in the comments. To stoke the flames of a race war.
Right.
You know, to incite damage and cause chaos so that people think that the people that were there for the protest or demonstration incited a riot.
Right.
Just to show you guys kind of being pushed in the forefront of the media as aggressive and angry and, you know, disrespectful. But and all that through the media, I feel like the message has been lost.
Right, because it was all about protesting.
Well, it's about how many black men and women really must lose their lives and no one be accountable. Yeah. It's like the message is lost in all the news media saying, oh, look at this store being destroyed. Look at this looting. Look at that looting. And Eric was going to put a video out, and it kind of, I had to take a moment and say no, because it's not really about the looting. It's not really about any of that. You know, you'll have another video on race inequality.
Right. I sure will in the future. Have that coming out.
But with this, we really have to focus on what's really happening, why we keep on turning on the news. And already everybody's forgot about Ahmad Ali. It's so sad.
So sad.
It's like the news cycle of news came out with even more tragedy and another poor black life lost. And now Ahmad Ali is like a distant memory, like Breonna Taylor, the EMT that lost her life at home, a distant story. So I think you have to hold people accountable, and I know that everybody's gonna say, oh, but they were arrested, and they were, the one police officer that had his knee has now had formal charges. But let me tell you this, we don't need just an arrest. It's not just another light plea deal.
Right.
They are hoping and praying that another story takes the center stage. You'll forget about this. It'll be a distant memory, and we'll push on to the next. And that they don't have to worry about really trying this man for the amount of years that he deserves. We don't need another acquittal. We don't need another Trayvon Martin deal where they say they're going to prosecute, they take them to court, and then they say, oh, no, he's good. He's acquitted. And then George Zimmerman gets to walk.
Right.
It's situations like that that set precedents. And let's always remember, legal precedents is what really makes the world that we live in. There has been legal cases that have set precedences and laws that we to this day have to abide by. This is a chance for legal precedents to be set. This is a chance to really say, we're not just going to have you throw us a few crumbs.
Right.
and tell us, oh, he's been arrested, he's been, indicted. Okay, honey, go home and it's all over with. No. This is going to really set the precedence, and we need to let them know and not let another person get away with murder of a black person.
Right, absolutely.
Yes, the police officer was arrested in record time. Yes, he was sentenced. And I know people are going to say, now, what do you black people or minorities have to complain about? Well, I'll tell you this. You may want to ease the tension. You may want to lure people into a false hope. You may want to stop the attention to the bigger problem. Right? But we have to not forget as a people to follow through. It's the following through that people forget. If not, Ahmaud Arbery would have not gone out of our earshot and thoughts, and then this takes center stage. It would have been a protest walk on all the lives lost, all the inequality, all the problems, because they compound.
Right.
And because of no precedents being set on things like Trayvon Martin, and who's the guy you said, I always forget his name, with the cigarettes in New York?
I forgot about it. I forgot his name, but
with him, and
his famous words was, "I can't breathe."
Yes. Again.
Twice.
Yeah.
So my question is, how in the world can a person not understand when somebody's got their knee on their neck and they're telling them, "I can't breathe," and you're not even responding? And then after he wasn't responding at all, it was like he was just laying there. The guy still had
because now the videos
it's coming out. There was 3
on him.
So he still had his knee on the guy's throat and his neck.
Yeah. And asked him what he wanted. It's like,
but the guy was, yeah.
I mean, that's the stupidest question ever. Yeah.
So this is the worst treatment of any human being. I don't care if you're black, Mexican, Portuguese. This is the most horrible treatment that a man can ever endure in the USA.
Yeah. And you would think, even with the laws and things that have been set, even from our forefathers, that's what I was saying to you. Remember, I was like, our forefathers fought, endured suffering, were murdered because they were pieces of property. They were identified as property, not as humans. And you would think in 2020 that you couldn't shoot an unarmed man for running 3 or more times.
Right.
You would think that a woman sleeping in her bed would not be killed and her boyfriend arrested because he's shooting back thinking that somebody broke into the place.
Right.
When in fact it was a wrong house and they were coming to arrest. It was I'm getting this all wrong. Excuse me, I'm just so upset. But they were supposed to do a sting at a home. They had the wrong home. They break in, and the man's just defending himself, but he goes to jail for a while. And that brings me back to, okay, they arrested this cop in record time, but what happened to Ahmaud Arbery's case that sat for almost 3 months?
Yeah, almost 3 months before any arrest was made.
Right, or this woman's boyfriend who sat in jail for over a month.
Right.
When all he was doing was defending, and to get out and to just have to live his life now without his woman because she was murdered. She was an EMT, for God's sakes.
Right.
Never did anything wrong.
Never did a thing wrong.
And now we're getting to where we're killing people that was a man who clearly was not resisting arrest, clearly by the videos that have surfaced now, in a public street, and it's okay. All 3 different instances, all 3 different places, all just okay.
Right.
When did it become okay? I don't understand.
Well, just like Michael Brown was shot too, right, in the back. I think that was St. Louis, Ferguson. Was that Ferguson or St. Louis? I know the young man. He went in the store. He got some cigarettes or something like that.
Yeah.
They shot him in the back. Instead of them calling the ambulance to save his life, they let him sit there and bleed out on the ground.
Right.
I mean, it's just an injustice. It's just ridiculous for the whole world to see. And you know what, Tina, in this protest, it wasn't just black folks out there.
Oh, no.
It was white folks. It was different people from different nationalities.
Latin,
because
Asian.
They're tired of it too.
I mean, yes. Why does it should not be. The problem is never going to get fixed if the black community takes the burden. Let's get the burden off of them. It should be everyone. Why do we have to be a certain color or a certain race? We are all human.
Absolutely.
That's the race we all are.
Absolutely.
We are all human.
Absolutely.
And it's sad when it takes the former president, Obama, to come out and say this shouldn't be normal.
Right.
When it takes a white mayor, right, to say that the police officer was wrong and should be arrested, because 9 times out of 10, they never say that. And it takes us to acknowledge that the denial of racism is racism.
Yes,
because
it is.
If you try to say there's no racism, turn on your TV. Because it's clearly racism. Clearly. There's no other way to put that. So do you remember the video I showed you? That's kind of what I wanted to get you to talk about, where the lady activist asked a room full of white people. Mm-hmm. And if you guys haven't seen this, I think it's Marcus Hill has it on his Instagram. But she said to the room full of black people, or white people, she said, please stand up if you'd like to be treated like blacks are in America. No one stood up.
Nobody stood up.
And she said, okay, so that means you know what's happening. You don't want it for you. So I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others. So I told you it's like almost like a don't ask, don't tell policy.
Right. Absolutely. And you know, it's a shame when people see injustice being done and they sit back and they go and do not a thing about it. Yes. Nothing. And I'm glad there was just more than just black people out there protest. It was a peaceful protest, a nonviolent protest, because we learned that from Martin Luther King, right, that nonviolence protest is a lot better than being out there looting and tearing up stores and tearing up personal property. Which is
what ended up happening, because there was fires and there was clearly a lot of damage and things like that. I mean, they're still talking about it in different, not just in Minnesota, mm-hmm, but there's been damage, looting, and violence in a lot of the states. A lot of the cities, remember, you were showing me. Right,
but see, people of color get angry when they continue to see their people getting murdered on the streets by these crazy psycho brain dead law officers, right, that's carried a shield and a gun. They getting tired of seeing incident after incident after incident. But I had a question, Tina. Mm-hmm. And my question was, where was Al Sharpton? Mm-hmm. Where was Jesse Jackson? Where was the other civil rights leaders that was supposed to be out there on the front line? Because I know Black Lives Matter was out there. But all these other guys that's supposed to stand up, I just seen Barack Obama, the one that he was the only one that really made a profound statement.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with the president calling people thugs.
No. Or insinuating that if there's rioting, they're going to shoot because nobody else needs to lose their life. And unfortunately, I read I told you I read in the news this morning that they are reporting at least one life lost during all of this chaos that's been going on all over. But my thing is that I told you, I was like, yes, I understand the frustration and this and that, but we can't succumb to what white America wants to see of us.
Right.
You know, we have to stop killing, hating, and forgetting about each other.
Right.
We got to do it. That's the only way to change this narrative, because white people have a narrative in their head that, you know, I hate to say it, that blacks are violent, and that you guys are thugs, and that y'all are stealing, and that all these things, you know, bad, negative things are happening, and like white people walk on water. It's ridiculous.
It's called white privilege.
Yes. So we can't resort to violence, because then they wave their fingers and they say, what'd I say?
What did I tell you? Sooner or later,
they're violent, you know. So we can retaliate in violence towards them because it's what they deserve. We can't do it. We can't give them what they want. We can't live their narrative. That's not our story. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I don't want that to be my son's story. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't want that to be my husband's story. I don't want that to be grandchildren's story. I don't want that to be the story that we start believing, mm-hmm, because we've been told it so much by white America. I don't. And I was telling you, I said, it's funny because minorities are literally the backbone workforce, right, of the United States of America.
Absolutely.
If we didn't carry the U.S. on our backs. And I said, like, you can attest to that through your work.
Right, absolutely.
So I used Republic Services as an example because, you know, I love my examples. I said, how many black people do you think, if we're looking at the company in a whole, work for Republic Services on a daily basis? We're talking the guys that go and get the trash, pick up the recycling, drive the trucks, everything that they have to do from the rooter to the tutor. And you said, if you're being modest, 60%. And I said, okay, and I would, if being modest, say that another 25% represents other. And I'd say other would be minorities, because when we check a box, we can't check black or white. We are literally forced to check other because we're Hispanic, or we're Pacific Islander, or we're Asian. You know, we're not even a given race half the time.
Right. Sometimes
they'll say Hispanic, but the majority of the time we're other. So 25% would be other, which would only leave 15% white Americans working for Republic Services. And I said to him quite simply, do you think that that company could run on 15% workforce? And what'd you say?
And I said, no, it'll never happen. They'll be out there trying to find somebody that's going to get out there and do what we do. Because first of all, two things. Everybody ain't made out for that kind of work, number one.
And they don't want to.
Two, many people ain't going to do it.
Yeah, they think they're too good. Yeah.
They ain't doing it.
So I was like, okay, so not only are minorities carrying the economy and the workforce on their back, but also on tax money. Because when you get that check at Republic Services for working those hours, for working that overtime, what's the first thing that the U.S. government does?
Uncle Sam takes his share.
Exactly.
Takes his cut.
So if we were not giving our tax money to this government that is supposed to be, I'll put that in air quotes, protecting us, giving the police force their money through state taxes, giving all of the federal, the people that are supposed to be now stepping in to prosecute, their money, where would U.S. be? I'll tell you where it'd be. It'd be in a damn hurting spot, because with this economic downfall, if everyone walked off their jobs and said, I'm not going to do it anymore, the U.S. government would literally shut down.
And go bankrupt.
It would shut down. So I was like, remember that story? And I kept thinking about, I was like, stories. I said, remember what happened to you. He's got to tell you guys a story about when he went to get our car tinted, the windows tinted in our car.
Right. I was in Las Vegas, and I had bought a brand new Honda Civic, brand new, 4-door, brand spanking new, and I had to go get the windows tinted. So I drove across town, took it to the garage. The guy was going to do the tint. I left the car there. And
it was during the day.
During the day.
Clear, it was morning time. You went early.
It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning. So I left my car there.
On a weekday.
On a weekday. No, on a weekend.
Oh, weekend. Yeah,
this was a Saturday. This was Saturday morning.
You're right.
Then I left my car there, and I walked over there to one of the first casinos, had me a breakfast sandwich, sat there, relaxed a little bit. Then I looked at my watch and said, okay, my car should be pretty much almost done by now. As I began to walk back, I got close to the industrial area, and I was walking. I looked behind me, and I seen two cops in a SWAT car slowly following me. So I just went on and walked, and I said, well, let me keep walking.
And you said you did get twisted up a little bit. You couldn't remember because all the buildings look alike.
All the buildings look alike, so when I stopped and looked there, they thought I was casing the place. So I finally got back to where my car was getting tinted, the window tinted. Cops come to me and say, hey, come here, sir. Get your hands against the car. And they frisked me. They disrespected me. They went in my pocket. They had maybe take my wallet out. I had to show them all kinds of IDs and everything.
Asked you why you were there?
Asked me why I was there.
Right.
I said, I'm in here getting my windows tinted.
Right.
Okay. Well, was you military? What kind of? I said I was in the military for a lot of years. I said now I work for public services. Get everything checked out, but still no. Both of them was about to handcuff me. Racial profiling. That's just a perfect example.
They said there was a black
because they said the black male
that fit your description.
That fit my description. That was in the area breaking in whatever he was doing.
Whatever.
But I wasn't the guy. And even the guy that was working on my car doing the tint, he's like, why they mess with you? I said, I don't know why. I said, but welcome to Las Vegas. And so many other places in America do the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm. And then I also reminded him, so we lived in the suburbs of Southwest. If you guys, anybody from Vegas or living in Vegas, I know a few of our viewers actually are still living in Vegas.
Still there.
Thinking about relocating. And so we lived in the Southwest off of Blue Diamond, cute little suburb. It is gated, or what, was gated when we lived there. And he decides he's going to take a bicycle ride.
And then down in the neighborhood.
Right. And it was like a Monday morning because you were off on Mondays.
Right.
He goes off on his bike. He comes back, I think nothing of it. Well, we have a little website for the neighborhoods, and it's kind of like for anybody that needs help or has any advice on somebody that maybe worked on something in the house or
selling furniture or any type of thing that's dealing with the community.
But it's also for crime.
Right.
And I look on there and I see them talking about this guy, suspicious black male riding his bike in the neighborhood. Everybody beware.
Beware.
Because
watch out.
He doesn't belong in our neighborhood. And I was like, and then I'm reading the description. It's his bicycle. And I go, what hat did you have on? And he tells me the hat, and I can't even remember. But whatever hat or baseball hat he had on, that's what was in the description. My husband, the pastor,
that was me.
Was the suspicious black male.
Just a black man.
That wasn't supposed to be in the neighborhood he owned a home in.
Yeah, I owned a home. I wasn't renting. I owned a home.
Yeah, so I went off. Like, I went off in the house, and we all know from the videos, I had choice words that I cannot repeat for fear of you all will get on the comments. And, oh, Tina, your angelic face. How could those words come out of your mouth? Look, I was ready to kill somebody. So I respond to the woman, because every home has like the address attached to it, or you could choose not to. Well, this woman chose not to have her address attached, but said that she lived in our neighborhood. So I said, listen, that was my husband. You are racist as racist comes. And if you got an issue and want to know if he's supposed to be in the neighborhood, boo-boo, here's my address. Come knock on my door. I'll be happy to show you my black husband, who definitely owns this house. Mm-hmm. And you better never put no stuff like this on here, because I'll definitely be looking for you. And a bunch of people chimed in like they couldn't believe that woman had the audacity to say what she said.
Right.
Like that you didn't belong in that neighborhood and that you would look suspicious and for people to watch out. And a lot of people were honestly shocked.
Did she apologize?
No, never. She incited an argument to which we won't discuss what I said to her. Mm-hmm. Basically, I'll see you in them streets. But anyway, that people, it shocked me that people were shocked still that racism was in our neighborhood. And I'm like, look, don't deny it. Racism still exists. In this day and age, I would love to say that my kids will be able to walk together, that my son will be able to be in a store and say mom, and I don't get weird stares or them going, that's not your mother, because they have told my son he's not mine because he's black. Right. And I've been like, he most definitely is my son. Who are you? But I told you, I was like, this just shows us that there's things that we have to do to change this narrative, to change our story. And we have got to first start by working together. First, justice has to be done all the way. All the way.
Right, not halfway.
Meaning the correct punishment and no tolerance for police officers who resort to violence.
Right.
No tolerance.
No free
zero.
Pass. No free pass.
If there is a zero tolerance in schools and there's a zero tolerance in places of employment, why not the police force as well?
That's right. That's right.
That's my question. And then we all have to work towards living together with equal respect and equal treatment as humans, as human beings. We need to respect each other. We need to understand. And if you don't, talk to somebody. Hey, I'm always open. I don't care. You too. If any of your friends asked you, what do you think about this? How do you feel as a black man? How do you feel as an interracial couple? How do you feel as this? How do you feel as that? I know that you and I would be more than happy. Right. More than happy to share our view and our life and maybe some of our struggles and our things that have happened, like the car and the bicycle and other things. There's been more, trust me.
There's been more, lots more.
But it first starts with the dialogue. Don't be afraid. Like, what are you so afraid of? I love asking white people questions. I love to know what white privilege is because, hey, like I told you, I'm only the midpoint. White people got the ultimate privilege. And y'all I know are going to blow up on my comments and say, oh, I've had the struggle. Boop. No, you haven't. I'm midway. So I know I can only speak as the midpoint. I don't have white privilege because as soon as they really find out what I am and who I am and where I was raised, I don't get the 100% white privilege. But I'm not going to lie, I get at least 50% of that. Because even you said, I kind of count sometimes on you getting that little white privilege so that I don't have it so hard.
Right.
But then I can't relate to having absolutely no privilege like you and my son.
Right.
Because it seems like zero respect. But I thought we all bled red.
Well, obviously we don't.
I mean, I don't know. So maybe it needs to start with dialogue. Maybe it needs to start with education. It needs to start with breaking down what we've been taught as children in some of these homes, and knowing that maybe our parents don't know it all and had it right. They don't have it right. If this is what we're still teaching, the rhetoric that our children are still getting, you know, we need as minorities though to stop being crabs in a bucket. Remember, I always use that analogy with you. Crabs in a bucket. All climbing on top of each other, trying to do better than the other one, and all we're doing is shoving each other down. Nothing's getting accomplished. Because then we all die. And the ones that are standing on the outside with the privilege are thriving and looking at us like, look at them, they're all a hot mess.
Yeah, shame on you guys. Shame on you guys.
Yeah.
So I noticed something else too, Tina. Racism is undercover in many places.
Yes.
From the neighborhood, from the church, from the social clubs, the malls,
workplaces,
the workplace,
school.
any place you can think of, the casinos. Okay, racism is still very much alive because it's apparent in this last death. Very much alive, and it causes people to react in certain ways. Some people act violently, some people have peaceful protests, but it gets under people's skin. So I would urge every pastor to have a conversation with your staff members, your church, and make sure that everybody's flowing with love and you don't have racism on your board of directors or wherever you may have in your church. Because if you got racism and it's undercover in your church, you got a problem. Because racism is racism.
Yes.
I don't care where it's at. It's still racism.
And you also have to understand that there may be people in the congregation that may need a little bit of counsel and love to get past the anger and the disappointment and the hurt, because their lives are like this all the time. We don't get to just turn it off.
Right,
like
absolutely.
You can the television and the news.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, and so since we always bring everything back to living here and being an expat and living in the Dominican Republic, do you see that out here?
No, I don't see it too much out here.
No. That's what I say all the time.
Everybody's just everybody out here.
And it's almost freeing.
Yeah. You'll be able, and a lot of you guys have spoken on this from YouTube channel, is that a lot of you guys like to move to other countries. When you're in other countries, you fit in with everybody else, and you're not looked at like you're a zombie or you from the moon. You just be treated like everybody else.
Yeah.
But in the Matrix, you gotta be careful even what neighborhood you move in.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah,
because some neighborhoods,
I thought our neighborhood was great until it happened.
They won't let you in.
Yeah.
I've even went to car lots. I was gonna buy a car. First thing the guy asked me, "How much money do you make?" I said, "Wait a minute, I ain't even got to the car yet." Now you asked me how much money I make, and I got offended because he was, and I just walked off once in a while, and somebody else got that commission.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Just like when you go to Ross and we shopping, they'll follow me before they follow her. They'll follow me around the whole entire store.
Yeah.
Undercover detectives shopping and everything, but got their eyes straight up on me. It's like the cameras up on the roof and the ceilings. It's not good enough. So, and I'm watching them, looking at me, and I feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But they ain't even watching you. You trying on 10,000 dresses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they're watching me the whole time that I'm there. So there is a difference, especially in a racial relationship, because it seems like Tina's the angel and I'm the devil.
And he's the nice one.
And I'm the nice one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the one that'll get in there and rip you a new. Yeah. I'll be the one to punch you before he will.
So I know, we just wanted to share that with you. It's time to love one another.
Yes.
It's time. You can't be saying hallelujah, thank you Jesus one day, and next day you're full of racism and you just hate people and you discuss. I don't care. If you're going to be a Christian, be 100% Christian, okay? And again, I would love to see pastors and congregations have that conversation with your people, that they'll know that God is a God of love. God is not racist.
Yes.
He's a God of love, 24/7, 365. That's why he went to the cross, for all of our sins, that we all may be free and be one people, one Lord, one faith, one baptism.
Yes. And to give you guys a ray of hope, I'm not saying everybody needs to, leave and make the big transition. It's not for everyone. But if you are thinking about doing the transition, literally, you cannot believe the freedom you will feel by not being judged by the color of your skin. If they look at you crazy, it's because you're speaking English and you're American.
There you go.
But that's going to be the only reason that you're going to stand out. And you are not a color, you are a nationality. Like, oh, you're American, I'm from Dominican, I'm from Puerto Rico. You're that's how they look at you. But they always find commonality and love. And we are not seeing people get their brains beat out in the streets because of the color of their skin. I hate to say it.
So I thank God for the spot we got. Thank God for it.
And our hearts go out to all of the families of all of the cases, said or unsaid, that are facing things like this, and people that are facing this every single day. Because you guys don't get a break.
Absolutely. You got to live this till the day you die. Yeah.
So, that's honestly one of the reasons that I came out here and I needed a break from the nonsense.
Me too. I really did.
My allergies are acting up really bad. Sorry, guys. It's been bad weather, but yes.
So, in the meantime, between the time, always remember, life is to be enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that subscription notification.
Yes.
And guess what, guys? We almost had 1,000.
Thank you so much. And thank you to those that have contributed to the channel. Remember, the biggest contribution you can do is hit subscribe. It's free. And we will see you
on the next video. Peace.